Growing up, I remember learning about in school how we elected our US presidents. Though at the time, if I was probably like 11 or 12 and you asked me what the Electoral College was, I probably would have told you that it was where the adults go to learn how to vote for a US president. So, pretty much growing up for me, it wasn't very important to really know and understand, how our electoral process worked. But as an adult now, I can understand and fully grasp, why we need to be fully involved with these issues. So the main process of how we elect our presidents is through the Electoral College. Nowadays, it's a topic that's, pretty mired in controversy with our past couple of elections. So in an online collection posted by Gale, opposing viewpoints on January 23rd, 2020, it tells that the Electoral College is made up of 538 electors. Each state has a set number of electors equivalent to their 2 U.S. senators plus number of congressional House votes, which then put on a vote for the president. It seems odd to have such a few number of people representing the will of so many. We have about, like I said, 538 electors, and our population is nearing 300 million. So today, we as Americans need to realize the inherent flaws facing the way we are represented in our presidential elections by working to reform the Electoral College. By doing this, we can work to uphold our values as Americans. And you're wondering, how this may affect you. Well, I'm sure many of us have asked the question of, does our vote really matter to really the greater overall picture? Does our vote really matter in the end? So working to reform the Electoral College would pretty much help to put an end to that question. To begin, we're going to look at the current issues of the Electoral College as it is today. Then we will look back to see how it was created. And then finally, we'll look to see what the possible solutions are. Some of the main problems with the Electoral College is that obviously voters are they're disproportionately represented. The system made to decide the number of electors is flawed as it doesn't account for population size. According to an opinion article published by the Arkansas Traveler, University of Arkansas on February 18th, 2019, California with 39 million people receives 55 Electoral College votes, whereas Wyoming's population of 573,000 gives them 3 Electoral College votes. So if you do the math, one California elector represents 709,000 people, whereas one Wyoming elector represents at least 139,000 people. So as you can see, the California electors they in a sense just have more power, as one elector represents almost nearly 500,000 more people. So legal precedent allows for electors to not be bound as well by the winner of the popular vote in their district. Highlighted in an article published by the Associated Press on August 21st, 2019, the U.S. Appeals Court in Denver, Colorado, ruled that electors can vote for their candidate and not face legal repercussions. So does it really stand to see that our electors, are they really in it for our best interests? As well, we're going to go back now and look on the beginnings of the Electoral College. So the Electoral College was a temporary solution to solving representation in the Senate and House of Representatives. When the Electoral College was proposed, it was an unpopular solution to the two-party system, that is, giving equal representation to both the House and the Senate. Recalled in an article from the LA Times on November 22nd, 2020, the Electoral College was formed from a compromise that gave both the House and Senate equal representation. James Madison, who supported the popular vote, lamented that the Electoral College was created in haste and hoped that it would be amended later on. Also reasoned in an article published by Politico.com on November 15th, 2016, we are asked to remember the founders were less committed to a direct democracy than we are today for reasons such as slower flow of information, and other philosophical issues. Their concerns were warranted as the United States was obviously a new democracy at the time, and really one of the first of its kind, being a democratic country as opposed to, a monarchy. So the Electoral College was a way to preserve the two-party system and make sure that there were equal representations among both the House and Senate. Referenced in an article from the Wall Street Journal on March 20th, 2019, if the presidency was based on the popular vote, more third-party candidates would have a greater incentive to run for the presidency. So, therefore, you can see part of the solution in it. So, now we're going to work towards the solution. Our federal government needs to work toward a solution to create a new system that favors multiple parties. One solution is the Fair Representation Act. Reported in an article by Justin Chenette of the news text blogs Fair Votes, Voices and Choices on February 18th, 2021, with nearly 90% of voting districts secure in voting for the party that holds them in these areas. The Fair Representation Act would fix this with multi-winner districts and fair and ranked choice voting. And this, in another article by the Independent Voter Network on August 30th, 2018, this is supported by saying that gerrymandering, or the process of swaying political parties for one district or another, it would work to dismantle that due to multi-winner districts. It would make more than one person elected to represent that district in Congress, which would then give the same number of representatives for each district that would represent pretty much fewer districts. So in a sense, these electors would be having less power per state, so that in the end we get a fairer result in our elections. So our federal government needs to take action now to resolve this issue with this act or another act that will work to solve the problem of the Electoral College. With elections more tightly contested than ever, amendments such as the Freedom of Representation Act will be given citizens liberty that is long overdue. And again, today, we as Americans need to realize the inherent flaws facing the way we're represented in our presidential elections by working to reform the Electoral College. By doing so, we can uphold our values as Americans. That's the end of my speech. Thank you.